When I was 18 years old, I heard a man on the radio speaking about his daughter that he adopted from China. And that really resonated within me, and it felt like, maybe God had planted a seed, and it was something that I really wanted to do. But again, I was only 18.
I guess growing up, I never really thought about adoption. Even as, a college student, again, never thought about adoption until I met Shelli. And then I was definitely open and willing to adopt also.
So we got married, and Purvis and I had a long conversation about adoption and how it seemed obvious to us that God was saying, hey, I put your hearts in China 14 years ago, and that's where I want you to go. I felt like if I died today, the one regret I would have is not adopting, because I felt that calling so strongly, and it's something I knew God wanted us to do. I couldn't let any more time go by without taking that step of faith. So about a week before our paperwork was finalized and mailed off to China, I came across this advocacy picture of a little boy. I contacted his listing agency and found out that he was in fact still waiting for a family. He had been waiting for a family for over a year. We wanted to help him, but there were obvious concerns. We were concerned about finances. Adoption, international adoption, does cost. And then when you add on top of that medical expenses, it looked daunting for us. We knew that if we said yes to this child, we would be bringing him home at the end of the year. And our surgeons warned us of 2 major open heart surgeries back to back, which would put them in 2 different calendar years, which meant that we would have to meet our out-of-pocket maximum for our insurance within 3 to 4 months of coming home 2 times. Which is an additional $12,000 for us on top of the adoption expenses. We went back and forth about it. Purvis wanted to be sure that we could handle this as a family and we could afford this. Me, on the other hand, I'm more of like, well, let's just have faith. But unfortunately, putting faith in a spreadsheet for finances it's kind of hard. The morning Purvis left for work, I believe it was a Friday morning, he left for work, and he finally said, yes to everything, yes to these medical needs, yes to this child, yes to a 3-year-old. But his only concern was, how are we going to pay for all of this? If you can show me how we can pay for this, then the answer is yes. Within about 2 or 3 hours of Purvis leaving for work, we had received a $10,000 donation to our adoption account. So I called Purvis at work and told him to come home and sign our papers, and he did. While we were packing to go to China, I started to get really upset. I felt this heaviness in my chest. I had true chest pain. And I just had to stop and breathe and refocus. And God gave me this message, and he said, you're supposed to leave the 99-pound sheep to go find the one lost one. Your children are safe, they're here, and they're okay. You have to go find the one lost one. So we packed our bags and we left. We arrived in China, and on October 17th, we met our son. He was so scared, but within a few minutes, Purvis had him laughing and playing on the floor. It was really, really incredible. Looking back over this process, we'd always had the desire to adopt, but there were many things that came up, many reasons not to go forward. Probably hundreds of reasons not to go forward. But looking back at that now, with Cameron in our arms and seeing how faithful God was through this process, watching from the front row God's miracles unfold right in front of us, and just holding him in our arms and watching him run and play and laugh, and just him through this process just becoming our child, I would do anything. I would do anything to get to him now. None of those things matter. None of it. So if you feel called to adopt, please just step out on faith and run to your child.